up here, right there.
Lots of stuff. Lots of crazy.
Okay.
It'll just take a minute.
What rules do you hear? I heard you say something. Yeah.
I'm not sure that there's much going on
So
tonight.
now
You're prepared
Okay,
for it,
good.
so,
I mean,
yeah.
no, I'm not
Did
even the
you just-
manager.
Normally I am prepared. but-
Did you just sit back
Director
and
of
enjoy the
purchasing.
ride?
Okay,
You know,
I will. I
all
will,
for
thank
all their
you.
locations.
At least I made it, that's what's important.
Right.
That is.
Exactly.
Trust plant out of northern Indiana. Doing a lot of business in Michigan and selling a lot of builders, and they want to sell them decking and siding and all the things that a lumberyard can sell them. So, yeah. So, Dad and I have been talking about selling it. You know, Mom's cancer really took it out of me. And really, COVID really took it out of me. And Mom's cancer really took it out of me. I told Dad, I think I'm done. And so we had a
Yeah, it's a bad
conversation.
thing, yeah.
So then he died suddenly, and then I hired him for
It's up in my
beginning of 2025, and by the end of 2025, I was
kind of infection.
former owner.
No.
And they still want to keep me around, and
Good.
I like them, and I got to do something, so we'll see.
And they said it was open
I don't know, it gets so when you finally, take a breath. All right, folks, are we ready to go?
On your mark, get set.
On your mark, get set.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will call the Monday, March 2nd meeting of the Hastings Planning Commission to order. Before we have roll call, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our newest member, Tom Wiswell. I'm not sure, this may be the first time that we've got a second generation serving. And I don't know how long I've been on this board now, but it's coming up on 20, and your dad was my mentor.
Yeah, mine too.
Huh?
Mine too.
Yeah, yours too. Yeah. No, he was big help. He and Dave Jaspers, kind of both. One got on one side, one sat on one side of me, and one sat on the other side of me, and made sure that I didn't do anything stupid.
And you always did what they told you, right?
Me? No.
No.
Oh, him? Probably.
Most of the time.
Yeah, well, I can see him mumbling in your ear right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll begin with roll call. So, Wiswell,
Here.
Darling,
Here.
Matson,
Here.
McLean,
Here.
Tassava,
Here.
Moyer Kale,
Here.
White,
Here.
Bolthouse is absent, and Hatfield here. So, if you'll please stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You have a draft agenda in front of you. Are there any changes that anyone would like to make? I will point out that we've got a public hearing scheduled, and we have Marvin Gregg here, but we don't have all the final documents that we need to proceed with a public hearing, so that item will be deleted from the agenda. But they're here because they still have another exciting project that they would like to talk to us about, and we will be doing a preliminary review of that under new business.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the amended agenda.
Support.
You've gotten ahead of me.
Oh.
But that's all right. We also have to add a second set of minutes to approve the minutes from the November 3rd, 2025 meeting. So we'll deal with the two sets of minutes as separate items under approval of minutes. Now, sir.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Support.
And support. We have a motion and support to approve the agenda. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right, approval of minutes. You don't really expect us to read those, do you, Dan?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
So these are the minutes of the November 3rd, 2025 meeting. At the December meeting, there was debate about whether the minutes were accurately reflective of people in attendance. After further video review of the November meeting.
I was not here.
We rolled the tape.
Was not here, so these minutes reflect the correct information.
Getting to be like a sporting event.
Replay.
Replay. All right. Do we have a motion then to approve the corrected minutes from the November 3rd, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. And unfortunately, the December 1st meeting minutes did not make our packet, but Dan also has those up for us to take a quick look at and review.
Trying to.
Oh, second tab. Well, let me even get on tab that's open.
If everybody can take a look at that as Dan scrolls through it slowly.
After a 3-month layoff, I forget how to put together the packet, obviously. So.
It's quite all right. All right, everybody have a chance to review those. Jackie, I see you were prominently featured in the discussions in that meeting, so would you like to move approval of the
Sure.
minutes?
I would, yes.
Thank you. So we have a motion, do we have support?
Support.
Motion and support. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. So, information items, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. Dan, is there anything you want to say about that? Actually, we'll need a motion to reschedule that public hearing for our meeting of April 6th, which brings up a second question. April 6th is the Monday following Easter. Are we going to have any issue with a quorum?
I will not be in town.
Okay.
I am coming home from Spain that day, so probably not. I probably won't be here.
Okay. Scott?
I should be here.
Okay.
I will be here.
Okay. I will be here.
I'll be here.
Okay. Looks like we should have a quorum, so.
If I get back early enough, I'll come. I don't know what state of mind I'm gonna be in after traveling.
We don't either, so.
Yeah.
All right, so for now, we'll assume that we will have a quorum. We'll probably check that closer to April 6th and reschedule if necessary. So, do we have a, Dan, anything you want to say before we?
Yeah, since the public hearing was scheduled for tonight, I think it'd be appropriate to have someone make a motion to postpone the public hearing to April 6, 2026. So it's put in the public record.
Okay, I'll make the motion to postpone the public hearing for 134 East Court Street postpone it for April 6th, 2026.
Okay, we have support.
Support.
Moved and supported to postpone the public hearing for a multifamily, the construction of a multifamily building at 134 East Court Street to April 6th, 2026. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Marv, it's nice to see that project moving ahead again. You know, we did have a chance to take a good look at that a couple of years ago, and we're excited about the prospects. So
Somebody decided to have a stroke in between there, that slowed things down just a little.
I won't ask why. But it's nice to have you here. Nice to see that you're looking well, and we look forward to talking to you about that project. So we'll move on into new business. First item of which is the unofficial site plan review for construction of multifamily buildings at a parcel commonly known as South Orchard Street, which would be the 1200 block. Dan, you want to?
Yes, thank you. Let me just do. Set this. Yeah. That's good.
And Tom, just for your benefit, we do provide for unofficial site plan reviews. When we do that, it's an opportunity to hear from the developer and to share any thoughts or comments that we might have, but we will not take any action tonight as a result of that.
Yep, so the parcel in question is at the southern end of both Orchard and Hay Street. Currently, it's a city-owned parcel, about just a little over 7 acres. It's currently zoned R2, single family. The city's been in ownership of this property 25 years. We've had it, we did some RFPs for development of this parcel. As you recall, we did have an interested developer a couple of years ago. After they reviewed the scope and breadth of it, they decided to rescind their offer for the property. So we did it once again, and we had, of course, a couple of developers, and Marvin Gregg were selected for the development of the property. So both Greg and Marv Helder have requested that an unofficial review of the site plan be conducted tonight. And again, as you know, and the ordinance is it was in the communication, unofficial reviews are just that. Planning Commission can't make any decisions. They can offer suggestions, provide some input to both Marv and Greg, and maybe recommendations, but there can not be any decision made on this tonight. More than likely, due to the nature of the project itself, with obviously multiple townhouse type multifamily structures, the likely path that this will follow would be the development of a planned unit development, or PUD. We would work with Marvin Gregg on that, along with their engineering company and architects, to go through that process. More than likely, based on the PUD ordinance, we do a preliminary review and then final reviews, both by Planning Commission and City Council. So, but for tonight, it's just the unofficial review. So I will bring that drawing up. They are represented by Rob from Excel Engineering. Most of us know him from his work on the Meadowstone project, both the mobile home site and the recently new constructed apartments. So he's a little familiar with the city of Hastings and our zoning.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
So this is kind of an interesting thing because I honestly love it when a planning commission sits down with us to get some feedback, especially on a project like this that really, when you ask for a PUD, can be so many different things. What Dan is pulling up is not a final plan, it's just a sketch, it's just some ideas. Gives you a little bit of proportion of what you could fit on the site, but it's not anything close to probably what I would come to you guys with for approval. So I'm not on the specifics of the plan, but there's a few things that I want to kind of point out and try to figure out where you would stand. One is, how many units would you kind of see as a possibility for this site? If you look at the buildings that I've got on this site, that's about 111, I think, is what we have as units on this. And I think that it doesn't look squishy, like we're putting it in every corner, but there's some rooms for even some other types of buildings and that sort of thing. So that's probably the number one question. And then two, if you look at how the site is accessed, there's two stub streets, but they're not really fully developed stub streets. Like the west one has sanitary sewer and water extended through the site. We've still got to figure out a little bit where the specific location of the water main is and that sort of thing, but there's water and sewer that can run to our site to serve it. But the stub street north of the property is not really a full street. It's gravel, and same thing on the east side. And so from a desire standpoint, I don't know if it, my gut says is that you would probably want this to be more of a parking lot kind of access, similar to Meadowstone, where there's not a road through the apartment areas. But if you had a strong opinion that, no, it has to be a road, we would need to certainly know that up front. Here's some of the implications of if it's a road versus just an access drive. If it's a road, all of a sudden you have front yard setbacks that we probably should look at a little bit closer. You are limited greatly on how you can have parking through there. We have on the, right now we're sketched parking 90 degrees off from that main drive. Some of that would have to not happen that way if it was a public road, right? So that's the second question. And then we've kind of got some orientation of buildings. If you look at the west side, I have the buildings kind of run up against the backs of existing house property. And on the east side, I did the opposite, which is where we have the parking lot is between the homes. Now your distance walking for parking spaces is maybe a little bit different. Yeah, so if you had a strong opinion about which way the orientation should or could be, I would love to get that feedback. So like I said, this is not anything close to what we would submit. It's really kind of a sketch pad. And if there's anything else that you want to kind of have input on, that'd be great too. But those are the three main things that I'm thinking of. And of course, two people that are looking to do this development are here too. And if you've got questions about how and stuff will look from a building standpoint, that sort of thing. These are townhomes, which by definition is you own from front to back, top to bottom, or rent out, and then kind of go from there. Their intent is not to do the whole thing at the start. This is a lot of units. I think they would start somewhere probably on the west side and kind of move through, because that's where the sanitary and the water is today. There we go. So that's where we're at. Not sure how we go from here. Not all organizations work this way, so if you need to ask questions, feel free to ask.
We do. Dan, can you review the surrounding zoning?
Yes.
Industrial.
So,
B2, R2.
so looking at this map, if you look to the south, those parcels there are zone D2 industrial. They're part of the Enterprise Drive Business Park. Same thing with the parcel off to the east. In line with this parcel, that's also industrial. The zoning to the west, I believe that's all R2 zoning.
I'm sorry, which way is west?
Would be
Where the
towards
houses are now?
Towards Montgomery Street.
Okay. Yeah. All right, thank you.
And then same thing to the north. Those homes, I believe, all are in the R2 zoning district.
Okay, and R2 provides,
Single family only, and now duplexes.
duplexes.
Correct.
Are all the properties on Enterprise Drive now owned?
They are, well, either are or currently under contract. The two parcels just to the south that border the property, both of those have been sold. The property to the west, just underneath the bulk of the parcel, I've heard differing comments from the owner. It's going to be 27, 28 before they build a facility there. The parcel to the east, there has been no communication from those owners, and the clock's ticking on us getting with them and exercising our first right of refusal.
And then the one to the east?
The one at the east, we are currently working with a buyer on that parcel, and he's in the process of developing a site plan. For industrial mill rigging company.
Commercial or industrial.
Yeah, those that are new on planning commissions, when I look at a site like this, some of the planning that goes into it is how does it move from residential down to commercial industrial? And this is kind of that piece in the middle, and that's where what we're proposing seems to be maybe the right fit. There you go, but that's what you're looking for usually when you're going from there. We've actually received a call from Excel Engineering's received a call from the guy to the east. I don't know that it's gone too far beyond what you're saying at the moment, but I know our office received that call from the survey department standpoint.
Does the property to the east, is that a road between,
No, there's that little segment that comes off from Enterprise Drive there, and it heads north to that.
so that property owner owns that little sliver?
Correct.
So that they can have
Correct.
access to Enterprise?
Yep.
No, actually, that's a city right of way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this
So
this
in the
little
north
space,
end?
that's a city right of way that was put into the original plan 25 years ago. In the event that this parcel to the north would be developed or could be parceled off and split for access both off of Enterprise and Star School.
but I don't think you'd ever want to tie it into the neighborhood, right? That's what we were looking at. That would be not a smart idea.
Why is that not, I'm
So
ignorant, why is that
you
not
don't want to
smart?
have the industrial traffic come through the neighborhood, residential neighborhood.
I was just thinking, I don't love that U sort of dead end. You know
That
what I
we
mean?
have?
It'd be nice if there was another way out. That's just,
I think it's good for our project because that gives you fire access.
yeah.
They can come in the one side and out the other. And if you did have a large number of townhouses that this plan, 100 of them, then you'd be splitting it 50-50-ish from who's using which access points. Yeah, and that's why we're not showing any stub streets to connect over to what would be Enterprise eventually or Star School, because we're thinking this is residential, keep it attached to the residential area.
Well, I think that's what I like about the way you position your townhouses, you know. To the west, the back of your townhouses are against the residential. To the south, the back of your townhouses are against the industrial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of like the way this site plan is. You know, I know there's a lot of work to do on it yet.
Yeah.
I would hope though that you know, I know Hayes Street, it wouldn't take a lot to develop that street. Now Orchard Street's going to be something different because that's like 3 blocks long. It's dirt. We're over there, it's only a block long.
No, I think.
And I mean, I know these guys aren't thinking that's in their scope of work to redo those roads. Within the site, that's what they're thinking is their.
I wouldn't want to see just one road in and same road
No,
out.
I think that's.
I don't think it's safe.
But it's like, I mean, I guess that would be something that would have to be discussed and understood straight up as if they're going to be responsible for putting things out to the existing road right of way that isn't part of their property, they would need to know that very quick, because I think that's what Mark's saying.
It becomes a deal killer from the standpoint of cost. You know, I know we had talked, when we looked at buying the property, and at that point, it was stated that the property on Hayes Street, like you say, is a block long, that would be a city responsibility to bring the road up to the property line, so to speak, and then we would go in. And originally, it was talked that other street, not Washington.
Orchard.
That Orchard would be just paved up to our property line. It would be a gravel so that fire trucks or big trucks or whatever could get out if they had to without trying to turn around into the project. So the idea was that Hayes would be the main street in and out, and I don't even think the city plows that street, do they? In the wintertime?
Oh no, beyond
Right.
my pay grade.
So it would be a street that's used only in an emergency situation, would remain gravel like it was.
Or if
And
the
I
city
guess,
decides to.
I just want to clarify that was an opinion, not a commitment.
Correct.
So there's a significant issue to deal with as far as how those two stubs are going to be handled, which doesn't involve us. Rebecca, did you have anything you wanted to comment on, just based on what you've had a quick look at?
Well,
I'm not asking for a site plan review.
no, I understand that. I have had a chance to look at it. Dan did inform me that maybe just my firsthand observations, assessments. Well, so clearly the property is currently zoned R2. So in order to do what they want to do, they have a couple of options. One would be rezoning it to the A1 district, which allows multifamily. I can imagine that might not be in their interest, only because it limits how many units you can have in a building. And since these are townhomes, and that limit is 8, and they're proposing greater than 8 for many of the buildings, that might not be the first district that they turn to. On the other hand, from the city's perspective, you know, there's a reason that you have a limit for 8, because it creates a particular building design that is more conducive to to serving as that transitional use that they're suggesting, you know, such a development might provide, rather than looking more like apartments. You get the density, but you get a better building design that is more in scale by limiting the number of units per building. That is what the A1 district would provide. It would require rezoning. Clearly, they have the option of going through the PUD process as well, although that's a rezoning too. So they're going to have to go through that legislative route either way. But the PUD route, they have a little bit different options, design options available to them. So that may very well be the route that they're choosing to go. I don't know that they've suggested which ones. I think they're working strictly from a layout standpoint and then figuring out which route works for them. But I guess my reaction to that is that, interestingly, your PUD provision in your zoning ordinance is intended to apply standards that would best implement the ideas in the master plan. So, right, you have your zoning ordinance that says, we're going to zone it these ways, and then it's very clear how you're doing it. The PUD says, we'll dangle this development option in front of you, but instead of putting it into a particular zoning district, we are going to tie it to our master plan objectives. So by virtue of doing that, the future land use map shows this property as core neighborhood, which then identifies core neighborhood is implemented either through, interestingly, the R2 or the A1. So the existing or the zoning option available, but through the PUD, you don't have the 8 units per building limitation, and you have a little bit greater density. But essentially what that's doing is it's transferring the ability for you guys to be sensitive to the land use arrangement pattern around it. It gives you a little more discretion. So rather than the ordinance saying, you know, you have reduced density, 14 units per acre, and 8 units per building. So, right, they give you the metrics in the ordinance. Instead, the PUD says, well, we'll remove that limitation for the number of units per building. We'll increase the density to 16, and we'll give the Planning Commission more latitude in design. So that lets you guys say, rather than following those metrics, it lets you guys sort of assess the fact, in this case maybe, that they abut some industrial zoning on a couple of boundaries, but they will abut existing neighborhoods on the other 2 boundaries. And it lets you sort of work that through on the site rather than just applying a standard. So I can see obviously the PUD provision might be more what they're thinking of, because it gives them, I mean, the density they're proposing through this does not meet A1 standards in terms of building size or in terms of overall density. They obviously have the ability to make that work under the PUD, so I can see where that might be. That might be of interest to you. I actually made the note on my only other comment was more on the road, since this is limited in detail, so it's really more of a concept reaction that I had, is as it relates to the roads. I assumed what the applicant suggested is that they would be project drives rather than public roads. But I do think and certainly who's responsible for improving the public roads, obviously, like you said, Dave, fortunately might not be the purview of the PC. However, I do think that I would take note, based on what the applicant just said, that they view this as having a primary access and an emergency access. That would raise a red flag with me based on the density they're proposing. You know, if you have they're proposing a density of 110 units, and I realize this is conceptual, so it might go down, it also might go up, because under the PUD they could have 120. So that's a lot of dwelling units with one access, not just from an emergency standpoint, but just from an operational standpoint. So I would say that those are the density, the size of the buildings, and the arrangement on the site, including the access, if I were in your shoes, would be my concerns.
Chief Jordan, nice to have you with us tonight, too. I assume you're here because you also have some thoughts on this that you'd like to share with us.
So I agree that that's a lot of units. I'm not a fan of the layout on the east side of the property. Those T parking lots make access for me extremely difficult. The buildings were going to be 2-story, is that correct? Or 3?
No, 2-story. 2-story townhouse. Slab on grade.
So I'm not a huge fan of a T lot for 18 homes in that one parking lot. That's a lot of vehicles at 1.5 vehicles per home. And then there's just the general. Obviously, we need to make sure we have enough fire flow in all those locations.
Right.
So one of those buildings, the 50% involvement is going to be right around 900 gallons a minute. The one building, at 50% involvement. So we've got to make sure that we take water flow into account for these properties. And we are going to need to have 2 accesses in and out, and I don't think one should be an alternate with a gravel road. It should be a paved road both ways in and out.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, comments, questions?
It doesn't appear that there's space for any sort of private outdoor space for any of these townhomes, and I also don't see any sort of shared use space. So in a revision of this, I would like to see either of those things or some sort of mixture of those things where it's a little more livable. Because this just looks like an apartment complex.
Yeah,
It doesn't really fit in with the neighborhood aspect very well, the way I look at it.
The spaces for that are, one is that access drive that's south that goes east-west, that's wider than what needs to be. So that would be narrowed up. The question was, is it a public road or not a public road? So we ran the right-of-way width-wise through there so you can kind of see what a typical public road right-of-way width would be. But on the west side, with that layout, that's one of the reasons why I like what that is because it gives you that space then between the main drive and the other. If the other stuff that's missing on here is garages. There's a requirement for parking that a certain number of them have garages. We're not kind of getting down to that level, whether or not it's at this point. We'll get that to work, but that's going to play into this a little bit too. But if you look at this building right here, you know, there's no reason for this to be extra long. We could push that all forward, gain some stuff in there. This is kind of a temporary, if you did go public road, you would probably have to have the road go here, and then this would disappear. And then these things could kind of work, yeah, from a setback standpoint. But like I said, this is certainly a sketch. But this is 66 feet wide here, plus then for that would be squished up to 24 feet. So that's probably, you're gaining 30 feet there. So I think that there's a lot of room for open space.
It kind of seems like wasted space right there right now.
But that's where your community kind of stuff, we can kind of work some stuff similar to what we did with Meadowstone Dog Park and that type of thing.
Something usable.
Yeah.
And then
Playground.
those 2 buildings north, they're just so close to the property line.
Well, and again, all sketchy. So don't get too carried away with that. This is, if you look at it, this is a rear yard setback at 25 feet. This would be a side, and that's the 8 foot. So
It's just
my
very
engineer
close
just pushed it
to the
that.
single family.
Yep, that's what I
So-
want to hear. If it's not, yeah, I don't think it's a side yard anymore if this is looked at as one big parcel. And then, yes, that would have to be similar to this in the backyard. But again, there's room to be,
Yeah, because I think
push
about young
things around.
families and backyard or play space,
Even
dog
small
walking.
ones.
Yeah.
Welcome, so. It's just a lot of asphalt, which I know you haven't put in landscaping or anything yet, but it's a little cold
yeah.
without it.
Don't look, what I'm looking at are those three things, is access for fire. And, you know, even if we pave to here, you know, who's responsible for the roads beyond? I mean, we're not gonna go down. Who said it was 3 blocks or something? I don't know how far that is, but.
Well, it's from that point right there, the northern, where your site stops right there. It's 3 blocks all the way to Clinton Street, possibly 4. But over on East Street, that's paved all the way up to where, almost, well, within a block of where you want that western entrance to be.
I think somebody's got to kind of talk with, is there funding for upkeep of roads, and do you make that part public? Do you call it no longer a road, let's just call it a driveway? And somebody's got to be very specific of who, what, and how, that, because that's a big dollar issue for these guys, and that plays into whether or not this even goes. So.
Well, that's
Well, I
ultimately
assume the
up to
first
city
phase is gonna be the
council,
west end of it.
Yeah, but you want to look at,
Right.
I mean, if you're buying the property, you got to look at it from an end, what are your end costs? And, you know, that's what I'm saying, you know, I can see where you have a temporary turnaround here, if you're going to start with a few buildings, and then you have one access, and then as you go, you have.
What's the chunk out of the middle? Who owns that? Is that a house?
That is a residential, and they currently have a driveway off this direction.
Okay. Oh, I see.
And the driveway's up.
So again, that's kind of a weird one too, where, you know, before you buy the property, you gotta provide them an easement, if there isn't one. Those types of things. I could honestly see where at some point maybe that gets gobbled up by the whole property, if it makes sense. My client's not looking to do this all in one phase, they're not built for that, so that's not going to be for a while. So the main things that I'm looking for is, yes, we're looking at PUD. Is that, she said 120, I think we're showing 111, there's somewhere in there. That's kind of where we're thinking of going. I'm hearing private drive through parking lot is acceptable. That can reduce the amount of square foot of blacktop and everything else to your minimums. I think it helps everything out in that direction. And then what was my third thing again? Just which layout to look at, and I hear you, and that's what I wanted to hear. So I think it also helps if you go back to, and I don't want to revisit another project because I don't want to equate them too much together, but when we had neighbors here on Meadowstone Apartments, this was the layout where they had struggles with a neighbor living here. And if we did that same look over here, I have a feeling you could have that same kind of an issue. Keep the headlights away, use the buildings as your best screening, and kind of go from there.
Have you guys went out and walked that property?
What's
I'm asking if you ever walked that property, because it seems to me the properties, all those houses are on Montgomery Street that this project butts up against.
Yep.
It seemed like that area back in there to the west of where, let's say you ran Hay Street all the way through. The property west of Hay Street, you have the houses on Montgomery. The back of those houses over to where you want to build used to be pretty wet back in there.
I walked this parcel a while ago, and I walked back this way. I did not dive all the way into this property, but I thought that it pretty much was the wet was limited to that pond there. And our thought is, based on discussions, is stormwater would occur with that with that pond there. So you'd have your detention outlet into here. Oh, sorry.
Okay, any other comments that anyone would like to share? Other comments? Well, gentlemen, you've heard a lot, so encourage you to continue to work with Dan and Rebecca and see where this takes us.
All right. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to see you all back.
I'd like to be back here without 100 people. I said to these guys, why are you hiding in the corner? Look at you, be out here.
Should have been up in the front row, but yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Next item, 7B, review and approve the 2025 annual report. And approve forwarding that to the council.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the annual report and forward it to the city council.
Support.
As we have done in the past, yeah, we've tried to go through the minute. Dan has tried to go through the minutes and just capsulize the major issues that we've done, and that has constituted our report. So, any questions for Dan? If not, we have a motion and support. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Whole business, JPA, JPC update. We've done so much.
Yeah, well, JPA met in December, and that's the last time anyone met, I think.
Yes.
Seems like a long time ago
Long
now.
time ago, right. And we only met in December because we were legally required to have a fourth meeting during the year. And at this point, we're anticipating that we're going to have the Meyer site plan either March or April, probably April at this point. Yeah, April at this point, so. Any questions? All right. Work task list, Dan provided updated, that's been highlighted to reflect progress. Any questions for Dan on his report?
Have we added, well, we had talked about prioritizing some of these, and I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was
if
my
that
next
really went
question,
anywhere.
because I think it was so long ago we didn't do it.
Right, okay. So these are just numbered 1 to 10, it's
Right.
not priority 1 to 10, they're
Yes.
just for reference purposes, okay.
I gave a homework assignment.
Yeah, I forgot my homework.
And as far as
I think the dog ate it.
Well, I think the dog ate everybody's, because I don't know that we received anything from anybody, did we?
Not everyone, but we did receive, I think, 2 responses.
Okay.
Maybe we should attempt that again, and all do our homework.
That was, yes, agreed, and I am going to give you only 10 days to do it.
Hey,
Okay.
Dan, can we maybe use SurveyMonkey and make this a survey where people are ranking them?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be easier to fill out, for me at least.
Me too.
Do I win any kind of a prize if I can guess who the 2 were? Never mind.
Your seal.
Huh?
It's an anonymous ballot.
I'm pretty sure you're set pretty close to.
Yes,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I know item 2 is something that got presented to the Planning Commission, so it's in your hands. But I'm thinking there is something from the Housing Committee that has also been presented. is that something you want landing on this task list, or do you sort of see that as?
I think we are going to treat that outside the task list and
Okay.
get that in here as soon as we can.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you're talking about the overlay district.
Well, the overlay district, but technically, item 2 came from the housing committee as well. So I'm just wondering if having that distinction assists the planning commission in prioritizing, knowing that there's stuff coming in from the housing committee.
The only thing I'd say is that I'm not sure that at this point, I look at number 2 and I think we all understand what that means. The overlay district, I'm not sure that we have a shared knowledge of that would allow us to accurately rank that.
Well, you know, I guess what I'm thinking, and maybe I'm belaboring it, so I apologize. So the stuff coming out of the housing committee is connected, right? It's all connected to doing, furthering a particular thing, and so one thing leads to another. And that's why I thought that maybe there would be an ease in understanding rather than lumping housing committee recommendations on your priority list. It's just a thought. It's just a thought that sometimes there might be an ease of understanding if they're presented in tandem. But I'll say no more.
No, you're...
It's just a thought.
Well, it makes sense because if the housing committee is working on something, then we could be working on something different
Right.
at the same time. So I don't know if we want to separate them out or.
I just think like all the work we did on the overlay and then all the work on the proposed
Okay.
combinations.
I'd say
There's
go
a
ahead.
logic
Well,
that's tied, yeah.
let's put that on here.
Okay.
But you need to write something that is detailed enough that we kind of have a good enough idea of what it is that we can appropriately rank it.
Okay, so you're wanting the second housing recommendation to be added to the task list, as
Isn't-
opposed to taking 2 off the task and creating a housing committee
I
recommendation.
must have misunderstood. I
No,
thought
you're
you
not.
wanted it added, not to...
No, I
One-
presented it as an option.
Okay.
Either add the other one or separate housing committee recommendations.
Okay, to me, what the housing committee has been working on takes priority. And
Okay.
we ought to get it in front of us as quickly as we can. Ranking these kind of tells what's next beyond that.
Yes, that is
Separating
correct.
them?
So are
Okay.
you saying you don't want the housing stuff on here?
No, leave it
Okay.
off with the idea that we're going to get that in front of us as
Okay.
soon as we possibly can. And then what we're ranking here will dictate what we address beyond that.
Yes.
Okay, I happen to, I think that would be lovely.
Okay?
I think number 2.
Well, then that says it all.
Stop. I think number 2 goes on that housing committee list. I guess maybe that's the focus of my comment.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry for having that discussion that didn't involve the rest of you, but are you okay if we proceed? Tom will bring you up to date.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right. So you have 10 days to rank by priority these, with the exception that we're going to exclude number 2, the one that's in green.
But you're going to
And we're
send that
gonna-
as a survey monkey, correct?
Yeah.
If at all
Okay,
possible,
great.
we'll send that as a survey monkey. Okay? Any other comments on the work task list? All right, tracking report, Dan?
Yes, as I put in the communication, we've had in the last several months, several fall off. The central dispatch, the 911 tower, that's been completed. We'll go back to the communication. The Chad store, the project on Enterprise Drive, He's received a certificate of occupancy for that building, as has Meadowstone, and their 3 new apartment buildings have also received occupancy permit. There's a 4th one. Back to my, Trumbull Agency, that obviously they're operating out of that building at 128 South Jefferson.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Dan? All right. Open public discussion and comment. Chance, Chief. Thank you for being here. You know, we appreciate your input in that discussion. All right, staff comments.
The only thing I have, of course, I put it in the communication, but the public open house for the MDOT reconstruction of West 8th Street from Broadway to Cook Road is scheduled for Thursday, March 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. in the FlexFab Conference Center on West End 43. So I'd love to have a large turnout to look at design components, design concepts, and just have the public give us good feedback and thoughts and ideas for that section of roadway.
Dan, we've got sidewalks built into the master plan, so they have to put them in where there aren't sidewalks now, right? That's part of the deal.
Well, the MDOT project is the roadway only.
Yeah.
So any additional aspects.
I thought when they redid the roadway, if it was in the master plan that we had sidewalks in the master plan, they had to put sidewalks in.
Well,
Isn't that how we got them on North Broadway?
well, yes, but for this project itself,
Yeah.
MDOT is just doing the road bed, the roadway itself.
Okay.
Any other components, design or otherwise, as far as I know, that would be something that would be at the city's expense. Now, there are gaps in the sidewalk.
Right.
Primarily more on the north side than on the south side.
Right.
But there are pedestrian access issues, especially across the Family Fair section, because the driveways are so large and the sidewalks feed into those access drives.
So they don't have to put in sidewalks. Is that what you're saying?
Nobody doesn't want to put in sidewalks who's involved with the project, neither MDOT nor our consultant. So I
Okay.
don't think
I thought
that's
they had to
gonna
put
be
them in
an
if it was in our
issue.
master plan. That's not
I
correct.
don't think so, because they have jurisdiction over their
Mansfield
own
always said
roadway.
that. If it was in the master plan, then they'd have to pay for it, right?
Well, then I'd be adding a lot more to the master plan.
Yeah, okay.
There's still time.
All right.
That's up to you guys.
Sorry, I didn't mean to divert us.
I think
It would be nice to have sidewalks along that, you're right. but-
Yes.
I think if you build a new house or a business, you're required, as part of the site plan.
Right.
And the city can either say, yeah, we want you to put it in, or we can say at a future date. That's what happened with Cody Stamping out on Starsville Road.
I just thought MDOT had to put them in if it was in the master plan, but apparently I'm wrong.
I almost think it's something they do.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Even when they narrowed.
I don't want to pay for it. I want them to pay for it.
Right, even when they redid the S-curve out here on Hanover Street,
Mm-hmm.
they put sidewalks on both sides of the road all the way out. So maybe it's their policy, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
I just think it'd be nice.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments?
I just want to, for those of you who haven't met her yet, this is Hannah Jakeway. She's our new assistant city manager. So she just wanted to see what planning commission was up to tonight.
Nice. Cool.
So if you haven't met her yet, make sure you say
Is
hi
this a
and
new
introduce
position,
yourself.
or
Yep.
is this a, nice.
Yep.
Well, I'm new too, so.
Right.
We're in the
Right.
great
Yeah,
band.
sure.
I gotta say it first,
Me
I
neither.
didn't have a chance.
Okay. Seeing no other comments, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
All right.
No.
Opposed, same, we are adjourned. Doesn't matter.
So Dave really want us to pave the road to the, is that something we normally do? Pave the road to that development, that piece of property?
Usually
Pretty hot.
developers have to pay whatever cost.
That's what I heard.